Hello and welcome back to Who Ordered Coffee. This is our second episode of Season 2. I am your host, Jonathan, and today with me, I have a special guest. You guys. Do you want to introduce yourself, Hanae?
Hi all, it's Hanae. I totally haven't been here ever before. This is my first episode.
So that's right. We have, yes, obviously, I'm joined by Hanae, and only Hanae today. We don't have Elliot, unfortunately. Elliot was with us for the first episode, but because of some commitments to a very worthwhile production of Grease. Be sure to find tickets and check that out if you can. But because of his commitments to Grease, he will be unavailable for what I believe is the rest of the season, unless he comes back in a surprise turn of events. But otherwise, today it's just Hanae and I. Well, me and my special guest Hanae. What will we be talking about, Hanae? Do you know?
Wow, this has been a long time coming for both of us. We have teased Elliot with this topic before, and as good friends as we are, we waited till Elliot wasn't here so he wouldn't have to suffer.
Indeed.
Shall we start the chants? Grond, 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 Grond. Yeah, we're not nerds, but if you haven't guessed, we're going to be talking about our ultimate favorite topic in the whole wide world, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Da, 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 da.
Lord of the Rings and all things Middle Earth. So this includes The Hobbit and possibly The Silmarillion. No, we're not going to talk about that.
If only we actually read the book.
If only we could. If only we did. No.
Maybe that will be another episode.
Unfortunately, I am not a true Tolkien fan.
Yet.
Not by choice. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I don't know if I ever will.
I only have, embarrassing enough, only read one chapter of The Silmarillion. It wasn't the first one, by the way.
That's one chapter more than me.
I was writing a piece that was based off it, and I've got to go back and finish it. But I was like, I'm going to write all the lyrics in Elvish, sorry. And I was like, I can't speak languages. I don't know. So it's on the little side at the moment while I decide what to do with the lyrics.
Right.
Because I'm like, do I commit? Because I would love to commit to learning Elvish.
Ooh.
But it's going to take a long time.
True.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
We shall see. Before we launch into our topic in earnest, I want to quickly ask, do you have a little fun thing to share this week?
Oh, the little fun things. So we had Birdman.
We had Birdman.
And then we had Baguette Man.
Any updates on Birdman?
Unfortunately, no. On Birdman or Baguette Man. I have not seen them.
Man.
Oh, sad.
Sad.
I was having a tough week, and then some of my students made it up to me by giving me a hug and a little thank you note. And I thought that was very sweet.
Very sweet.
Because more than half of my other students were kind of testing my patience a little bit. As you know, that's what you do when you teach. You get a bit tested. That's understandable. I was getting a long week though, and then some of the young ones were like, "Here's some love," and I'm like, appreciation. I accept this gratefully.
Gratefully, yeah, that's great.
Yes.
I mean, that's a little fun thing. How about that?
Yeah, it's a little fun win actually.
Yeah, sort of bring it back to season 1. Oh, fun thing.
Yeah, sorry.
I can't. A win.
If I think of something else, I will blurt it out.
By all means, yes. Interrupt at any time and be like, "This is my fun thing. I got this."
Yeah, I will think, "Wow, Jonathan,
yes.
You have a little fun thing to share with just me, little old me, and definitely not the listeners."
Yes, a rather uneventful week for myself as well. But I guess the only thing that was, I guess you could count this as fun. I got to go and caught up with a friend to watch Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, that film. So definitely fun. It was definitely fun and possibly a little bit strange, you know.
Extending the title.
I'm sorry, that was really bad. No, but it was a fun movie. Definitely a fun movie. Very much. It's like when you ride a theme park ride. It's really fun. It's really engaging. A lot of flashing lights. I say that in the sense of like it was thrilling and enjoying. But yes, I think some people voiced similarly in reviews that there was not so much substance to the film this time. Ooh. Hot take. No, I definitely enjoyed it. It was really thrilling. There were elements of the film in terms of its story and the way it was executed was sort of like, okay, that was a little bit too convenient. I won't go into too much specifics, obviously. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But I just will say, yes, it was thrilling. It was exciting, like I've already said. But yeah, if you're looking for in-depth, super, nuanced story, as you may have picked up from our first episode, Marvel films aren't super well known for being, brilliant pieces of movie cinematic literature. So
Call out.
they're entertaining. Okay, they're really good fun. I love myself a Marvel film. I even sat down to rewatch Doctor Strange, the first one.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself what that was all about, and that was good. That was good old fun. Good old fun. But yeah, not too much to unpack there.
I do have a fun little thing. I'm interrupting. I don't think I mentioned this on last week, and I really hope I didn't. In my Animal Crossing island, I decided to count how many gyroids I have. At the moment, it's 55.
55 gyroids. There you go.
Yes. I'm running out of room.
Just
I don't know.
on your island.
I have an idea where I'm going to put half of them now, but that space is not complete. Because as you know, Jonathan, and I'll show the listeners, because this is Lord of the Rings related now, I am trying to build Minas Tirith on my island.
Ah, yes. Great White City.
Yes, the Great White City. At the moment, I am still looking for... This is so sad. It's been months. I still haven't found it.
What haven't you found, Hanae?
I haven't found a castle tower.
Castle tower.
It's been months. I've been looking. I've been dedicating. Actually, I had to take a break for 2 days. But I have been going on every day, logging in to check Nook's shopping online, and they keep taunting me with the castle wall and the castle gates. I already have them. I don't need them anymore. If you buy them once, you're good. Stop giving me the same thing. I'm not mad. I'm furious.
So if people listening, if you happen to play Animal Crossing and have exactly what Hanae's looking for, please send it to Hanae. just send it to Hanae.
I'm losing it. I've been pestering Jonathan every few days. I'm like, hey, can you log in to Animal Crossing? No one has this tower.
Oh, it's so elusive. It seems to be avoiding all of us somehow.
Right? It's like, Hanae wants it. No one deserves it.
No one else will have this.
I'm getting sadder. I want to just build Minas Tirith so I can have the White City. Maybe I'll redo my whole island to be Lord of the Rings theme. So that means I have to get rid of a lot of my junk. The gyroids are definitely going to stay though. They're there forever.
Would you just try to do a little miniature version of Middle Earth across your island, or just one specific
not all
area?
of it, because it's a really big map. So I'll just pick some, maybe just a few little places in Middle-earth, for example. Let's go with maybe Rohan. Actually, I have found a volcano instead of a tower. So I bought the volcano so I could also do Mordor.
Do a little Mordor.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was going to be bigger. I'm pretty sure I'm taller than the volcano.
Oh yeah, definitely. All the landmark items that you get in Animal Crossing are really small. I have the pyramid.
The trees are bigger.
Yeah, I have the pyramid. Well, it just says pyramid, but
yeah,
and it's definitely as tall as my avatar, the character. And it's there's no way it's this small. But
you're so tall, Jonathan.
I'm just massive. So to bring it back to our topic, I thought we'd start off with the most important question: how do you rank these films? And now by films, I'm talking about, of course, The Lord of the Rings, The Three, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King, and then also, if you want, ranking the Hobbit films 1 through to 3 as well. I'm not going to try and name them. You can look them up if you need to know what they are. But so Hanae.
Unexpected Journey.
Oh yes, Unexpected
The Desolation of Smaug.
Well,
Smaug.
Smaug.
Grew up.
Oh, there's a debate. There.
I grew up hearing Smaug. Okay, so don't come for me. And the Battle of the Five Armies.
Battle of the Five Armies. There you go.
I've proved my worth.
All right, there you go. So you don't have to look it up. Thanks to Hanae.
You're welcome. They will not be in the show notes.
Got to listen to the show. But there you go. So Hanae, let's keep it easy. Let's start with just the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay, so these are just to let the audience know, this is the Peter Jackson versions. So we will probably not be going into the animated versions because I know that I haven't seen
or the Lord of the Rings musical.
No, we do not bring that up. That's horrendous.
We don't talk about the Lord of the Rings musical.
2 minutes of it. Oh, this is hard. Okay, so ranking, I'm assuming first is our favorite.
Yeah.
Last is
least favorite.
Our favorite.
Still favorite, just not as favorite as our actual favorite.
Yeah, because honestly, I love all of these, as you know, with my whole heart and soul. Third one will go first because I do love the Arwen battle.
Yes, Return of the King.
And it's got some of my favorite soundtracks are in that one, but we'll circle back to that later. Then we'll go with the Fellowship, and then we'll go with Two Towers. Now, this doesn't mean to say that I don't like any of these least. I don't hate any of these. I will never hate Lord of the Rings. So get that out of your head. Jonathan, You tell me yours.
Yes. Okay. So my ranking is Fellowship, Return of the King, and then it's Two Towers last.
Fair.
For some reason, I just seem to have trouble getting through the second film. Like the second film has some brilliant set pieces, some brilliant, obviously, the battle at the end. Obviously, really love that, and there are all these really iconic moments throughout the film as well. But just because of the nature of how it's the middle part of the story, I just sort of always get a bit like every time I do a rewatch, it's always the slower part, and I always find like, oh, this. I sort of just don't remember it as well as the beginning and the end, which kind of, I guess sort of makes sense, the big climatic finish. We always remember the really peaceful opening when it's in the Shire.
I love the
how can
opening.
I not, how can you not love that? So Fellowship's always great.
Wholesome.
You remember the coronation at the end, but yeah, the middle stuff.
Gandalf's
it always
fireworks.
the middle stuff I always just forget that I love. So whenever my instinct when I rank these is always like, yes, 1, 3, 2, but two I also love. So
it's just a little bit, since it's the middle bit, there's a things that like just don't.
It feels incomplete, as it should, because it's the middle part of the story.
Yeah. Actually, but though when we watched the extended version, oh my gosh, that was the happiest person ever because it felt more complete than watching the cinematic versions.
Okay, yeah.
So because I grew up with the cinematic versions, because obviously as a kid I probably wouldn't have made it through all of it.
Oh yeah, no.
Because it's very long. But like watching that second, I felt a lot happier. Like it sat a lot better with me because it answered a few more questions.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
and I was like, this is good.
Yeah,
you're doing it.
I mean, go into that. I mean, do you remember what some of those questions were, and what scenes are you referring to?
Well, shamefully, I haven't seen it in the last year. I think no, we watched it last year.
No, we did.
That was the first time I ever.
No, we did not. Oh wait, yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Was the extended? We watched one of them. We watched the second one in the cinema because they did a 4K re-release.
That's
in cinemas.
Right, but that wasn't extended. But that was
not extended.
Awesome. Oh my gosh! Wait, actually, when we watched the second movie in cinema,
just the second one,
the part where Theoden is doing his speech while getting prepared for the Helm's Deep battle, that lights that shone through the door blinded everyone in the cinema.
It was so bright because you're in the pitch dark cinema, right? And suddenly white.
Yeah, because it's been raining all night in the battle, and then all of a sudden this blaring light comes and burns your retinas. I was like, oh, I'm awake. Actually, no, I can't see.
I'm dead.
So I was dead. Yeah, so like Jonathon and I were like taken back, and I was like, are you suffering a little bit? Like, I love Lord of the Rings, but this hurts a bit. I remember that vividly.
Yes.
I don't know why. It's not like it's burned into my brain.
Yeah, but no, I don't recall watching the extended cut with you last year, but maybe you watched it separately.
Maybe it wasn't last year. I think we definitely watched it the year before.
The year before, yeah.
But that was the very first time I watched it, and we spent so much time talking about it, but we won't go into that because gotta be there. But with that one, with the Helm's Deep, the end of the Helm's Deep, when the orcs are running to the forest.
That's right.
I loved that they included that scene. I didn't know they were going to include that one.
Yes, that's right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. You have for people who haven't seen Lord of the Rings, first of all, what are you doing here? Second of all, if you haven't seen the extended version, I actually highly recommend it because we might be going into some detail, for example, right now.
So spoiler alert.
Spoilers. We should have put a spoiler warning way before this, but it's okay. When they were running into trees, the Ents start destroying the army. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Right.
I didn't know that was going to happen in the extended.
Yes, because in the original, you see the army flee. You see Saruman's army flee.
And then I just assumed they went back.
Yeah, you just assume they went back
to somewhere.
Yeah, but then in the next film, you see that, Saruman's domain, it's been flooded. Again, context just by watching the films, but it's been flooded and there's no sign of any orcs, and you just assume that, okay, at some point, maybe they just sort of started wandering the map, or they all died.
Right?
But the explanation is the Ents killed them. The trees, well, no, not the Ents, the trees, all right?
The trees
just the trees just start.
Yeah, my bad. I said that wrong.
You see the forest start sort of coming to life, and you hear these
awesome,
screams.
Because they haven't done
it's
that
just
for
implied
years.
The forest that kills them.
But it's amazing because the forest hasn't moved in years. But the Ents, if you don't know, Ents are walking trees and they're tree shepherds.
Tree? I am no tree. I am an What is a Lord of the Rings podcast episode if not to just quote lines from the movie?
To be fair, When you said Saruman's domain got flooded, I was thinking of the nice crispy salted pork.
It's just smoking and eating.
This salted pork is particularly nice. Or is it good? It has to get a little like
Ooh.
rusty.
Particular. Oh,
But anyway, what were we talking about?
salted pork.
No. Yeah.
But can
I have a question.
Yes, hello.
This is going off script if you must. If you could eat any Lord of the Rings meal or food.
Lambus bread.
Okay.
Straight away. Lambus bread. I need to find out what this lambus bread is.
We should make it one day.
Let's make lambus bread. I have, unsurprisingly.
There is a recipe, isn't there?
I have, unsurprisingly, found a recipe on the Instagram/TikTok because it's just a repost of TikTok.
Yeah,
someone
don't
making
own
lambus
TikTok.
bread, and it's like,
So tune in. Wait, I'm gonna put it on our to-do list.
Oh,
I would try that too, but I also want to try the salted pork.
the salted pork.
But only a little bit because I'm not a huge fan of pork.
Fair enough. My gosh.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that. Oh, wait. No. I changed my mind. I changed my answer. I don't want to try the salted pork because
You want to try like
can't.
Sam's stew?
Yes! I want to try Sam's stew. As you know, in the second movie, no, it's the third, isn't it? No, it's the second. It's the second.
It's second.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I doubted myself. Sam makes a stew out of what I believe was little rabbits.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember what they're called.
Rabbits or the hares or something. Yeah.
Hares, but they're really tiny, so I'm not sure if they're hares. Hares are bigger.
Yeah, I think they're
But
rabbits.
anyway, he makes a stew, and it actually looks good. They never eat the stew. They get captured like 5 minutes later, and Sam's carrying around the stew, by the way, while they're trying to like figure out what's going on, because it actually turns out they're right next to a battlefield. And then they get captured, and all I can think about was he never got to eat his stew. Like none of them.
Such a tragedy.
The only actual like meal in that whole movie, not including the first one.
Drop an F in the chat for the stew.
Oh, the poor stew.
R.I.P. stew.
I would eat that. Actually, I would give it to Sam and Frodo first, but then I would hope they'd share it with me. Okay, this is
We want the stew.
Jonathan. We have to do the quote though that goes with that scene.
Yes. What do you do? Yes. What do you do with potatoes, Hanae? What can
Boil
you do?
them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Even Gollum couldn't say no to that.
Yes, we could.
Yes, we could.
Nasty fat hobbits. We like fish raw and wriggly. We're totally not geeking out.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. And just a quick fun fact about that scene.
Yeah, go for it.
The only part of Andy Serkis who's the actor for Gollum, so he's Andy Serkis plays Gollum, and he's mostly motion capture. But in the films, because of the fact that he's mostly motion capture, or was not even motion capture, like they replaced him with a CGI model and then sort of animated Gollum's action based off Andy Serkis's performance in the footage. Okay, so all of that to say, he's not real in that scene. So Andy Serkis, you can't actually see him in that scene, but the only part of him that you can see in the entire trilogy is a single bit of spit when he says raw and rattling. When he does that, when he sort of blows a raspberry at Sam for saying, like when Sam goes like, oh, even you couldn't say no. He's like, yes, we could, or something. He's like, you're helpless, or I forget the exact order, but he sort of blows a raspberry and there's a glob of spit that comes out. It's a very gross fun fact, but that spit is Andy Serkis. That's his. That's his spit. That's his spit in the film. That's awesome. The only part of that's the only part of Andy Serkis that actually is real. Man, that was a gross fun fact, but it's in the behind the scenes. So, if they put that in a commercially released DVD, I'm sure it's good enough for our podcast. So there you go. I hope you appreciate it.
If it's Lord of the Rings, it's good enough for every podcast. I thought that was an awesome fun fact. And stay tuned for more fun facts and random knowledge.
This next hour and a half, maybe. We'll see how long.
10 hours.
We'll see how long. Yeah, but there you go. Okay, so earlier I mentioned ranking Lord of the Rings, but also ranking the Hobbit films. Do you have a ranking for the Hobbit films? We've done Lord of the Rings. Yeah. How would you rank the Hobbit films, and how would you?
Give me a sec. Well, I think I've cast my mind back. Also, we have watched the extended version of The Hobbit.
Have we? Yes, we have.
I thought we. Yes.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, no. Okay. For a little fun fact about us listeners, Jonathan and I both watched. Did we watch Lord of the Rings first or The Hobbit?
Lord of the Rings. We did Lord of the Rings first.
Okay. Yep. We watched all the Lord of the Rings extended cut over a weekend, and then the next weekend we watched The Hobbit, extended cut.
Yeah.
And on the last, after we finished The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings live stream
Like
came online.
it's like a reunion live stream thing for
and
the
we
actors.
also watched that.
And
It
like
was the greatest moment of
we
our
had like
lives.
somehow unintentionally timed it perfectly so that as soon as the film's finished, as soon as the
We had like
film's
10-minute
wrapped,
break.
as soon as it wrapped, it the live stream stopped or they started
We did this
premiering.
very unintentionally.
Yeah.
We didn't. You'd think we would actually plan this because, we're huge Lord of the Rings fans. No, we did not. I think we kind of forgot about it.
It was fate.
It was fate. But I wasn't kept saying, wouldn't it be so awesome if Howard Shore, and if you don't know who Howard Shore is, he's a composer. Yes, first of all, shame on you. You get a point deduction, audience. But he's a composer of the amazing soundtracks for both Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Anyway, I said to Jonathan, they really need to include Howard Shore because, he ties the whole movies together. He takes it to the next 10 more levels.
Absolutely.
And then, lo and behold, the man himself joins the call. And we lost it. We were both, I don't know if it was you, but it was mostly me. I was like yelling out of happiness. And then my dad came down and he yelled at me because it was like 2 a.m. And I had woken him up. So I'm at the other end of the house, dancing like an idiot, like, being so excited. And my dad's like, what are you doing? It's 2 a.m. Go to bed. I'm like, no, Howard Shore is here on my computer screen. And dad's like, I don't care. I'm like, well, you should. Go away. I think that was the greatest moment for that year.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That was a bit of stalling. And I didn't even think of it as for The Hobbit. I'm just really excited.
Okay, well, can I offer my ranking?
You go first.
Yeah. I'll go first while you think. So the Hobbit films, the way I would rank them, it would probably be in the order of release. So for me, they do become progressively less appetizing, if I can describe it that way, as they go along. So the first film, where it's a lot more green, it's a lot more fun. It's just there's a lot of food. It's a good old time. It's a good old time. The first film. And then the second film is just really long and confusing. Honestly, I just remember Mirkwood.
Well, I mean, Mirkwood is like in the books.
Mirkwood.
It's meant to be a confusing place anyway because of the heavy Is it a spell or is it just heavy air surrounding it? I don't quite know, but there is a darkness in the forest now.
Yeah.
And so even reading the book was a little bit time consuming because it's actually a big fat chap. It's a big segment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then the entirety of the third film is just a paragraph on steroids.
Just a little bit. I mean,
good old fun. Again, good old fun, but
wait.
Man, it's just
I don't remember.
In the books, in the book, I should say, the Hobbit book.
Yeah, the book.
Bilbo knocks his head at the beginning of the battle, and when he wakes up, the battle was over. And that was the Battle of the Five Armies. Literally.
Honestly, that is hilarious though. And it's realistic. Because Bilbo is a hobbit. And the hobbits are the main characters of these books because they are the most unlikely hero characters. And again, saying since they're not heroes, they've never fought. They've never, run in their life probably. They've never done anything besides live a beautiful life, eat food, hate your neighbors. It's great. Who wouldn't want to be a hobbit? But he gets thrown out into the rest of the world and he tries his best. He does pretty good. But when it came to the army, the actual battle, I'm like, understandably, yeah. It's probably amazing you didn't get killed or squashed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's tiny.
He's tiny. Tiny.
Okay, I thought of a ranking.
Oh,
and I'm going to be ranking them in my favorite soundtracks that
Ooh,
appear in the movie.
Okay.
So second, third, then first.
Interesting. Okay, yes, and do tell why.
Just in my opinion. So I haven't sat down religiously and listened to every single piece. I should do that, but I haven't had the time yet. And the ones that I can remember, the more iconic versions, because we complained about this.
Yeah.
About the first one. The first Hobbit movie, we got really sick of that theme.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, it's so long ago, I can't remember.
Okay, so from what I remember, Howard Shore actually wasn't the only composer working on this movie. There was two others. And they had a theme, and I'm trying to remember what the Dwarven theme was, because it was that one.
The Erebor theme.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's gorgeous.
Did they just keep
But oh
repeating
my
that?
goodness,
I can't
it
even
was
remember that.
overdone. Yeah, they did. We complained about it
Oh my gosh.
like a lot. Well, it's like there it is. Like every few minutes, I was like, move on. Because
Just keep
in Lord of the
hammering the
Rings,
arrow.
it's done. Oh, Howard Shore has themes for pretty much every character and every place and any battle. And I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. And he changes it so you can still recognize it, but it's a little bit different and it's interesting. Oh my goodness, this wasn't. It was repeated so many times that I actually got angry at the movie. I was like, shut up. I can't stand it anymore. You ruined it. It's a beautiful theme, but I heard it too many times. So that's my little complaint about the first one. So in the second and third one, it was done a little bit better.
Yep.
I didn't hear that theme as much. They started putting different ones in, and I appreciated the variety.
Yeah. Any particular themes you could remember that stood out to you as like, oh, I like that?
I liked the there's from the second movie. It's the one where when they're in the river.
Yeah.
And the other one is the Sons of
Durin.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
Nice.
I liked that one. It's the most impactful bit because they're running out to fight alongside the rest of the people instead of hiding.
Oh yeah, in the third film, yeah.
As you may guess from our talking, Lord of the Rings is our personal favorite. Hobbit is a second in our books. We don't hate it, but there's just a few little things that didn't live up to our Lord of the Rings standard.
Yeah. Well, no, unfortunately, the productions, if you watch behind the scenes, the productions were played with just a lack of time. Like Peter Jackson was brought on so late, he essentially had next to no time to do pre-production for this trilogy, and he was essentially, as they describe it, building the tracks while the train was running. Like they were putting the tracks down as the train was going, which is like, that is such a perfect analogy, but that's literally what it felt like watching the behind the scenes. Just like, damn, like just everything was just on fire, and Peter Jackson just sort of having to wrangle it all together.
Like,
and
to be fair, Peter Jackson still did a good job. Of tying that all together. Considering
all of that, and the fact that it ended up being, a huge box office success, it is still extremely enjoyable films, visually stunning. Like, considering how well it did, despite the production issues.
Oh yeah, I will still love The Hobbit.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick between the two, it will be Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This is no diss on the people who created this though, because for both franchises, a lot went into it.
Extremely well done.
The dedication these people have to this beautiful franchise.
Like the craftsmanship is just off the charts.
Again,
absolutely incredible.
Look at a little bit. Even if you don't want to sit through all the movies, it's mind-blowing how much detail and how many people put so much work. So there was like these people carrying on books, and they were telling you how to pronounce words, what they were, because they actually spoke some of the languages.
Yeah, the specialists.
If you do not notice, Tolkien wrote all his languages. So Tolkien wasn't a language professor. Well, I am not, as you can tell. He created not only just this whole world, but every single language that went into it. A huge map. He did the history of this world. It's amazing. He created another universe, basically. Not quite, but you get the point.
Yeah.
He's like the amount of dedication. So the people seeing how much work Tolkien put into his beautiful world, they were like, we have to keep this going. So a lot of people studied some of the languages, and they got them in the production, and they were telling you how to pronounce names
and places,
and how to speak in Elvish
and Dwarvish.
It was amazing. I wish I could meet these people and just be like, thank you, and teach me also. But like, bragging, I know Tolkien languages. I want that brag.
Oh my god, imagine the bragging rights amongst LOTR nerds. It'd be like, I don't speak Elvish.
And you do it in such a beautiful,
oh my gosh.
My favorite person who can speak Elvish really gorgeously is Arwen.
The queen.
I love how she speaks because it's so ethereal and gentle.
Her natural speaking voice is so ethereal as well.
I know. Like, why couldn't I have an ethereal voice? But like, listening to it is just so calming, but
calming, yeah. It's so perfectly Elvish, yeah.
Wow. Like, this is what an Elvish person would be. Sorry, I'm not nerding out.
Truly. I mean, I will say, with Tolkien, like, the whole thing is that he invented the languages first, because that was his whole thing. He's like, I'm just going to invent languages. And then he was like,
well, I'm bored.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, because I guess it was part of his profession / research. like he invented languages, and then what he did was like, well, I need to have people to speak these languages. So he invented people, like the cultures, and then he's like, well, these cultures must have history, so let me invent the history. And then it was like, then he invented the world first, and then it was like, oh, this is a world. It's gonna have some stories, right? And then he told the story. And it's just an incredible level of world building that just I don't think anything else has ever come close. This wouldn't be an exaggeration, right? I'm sure there's. I don't think anything else in the world has ever come close to this level of detail, and everything that has come since is inspired by this in some way. Surely that's not too much of a generalized statement. I think there's I think it's pretty safe to say that. I'm pretty safe.
Because like he was like probably like a founding father for literature.
Yeah, like this sort of high fantasy literature.
Like if you want to be inspired by like any type of fantasy, just check out some of his work or even some of his characters, because like the amount of like even species, he's like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. I'm like, oh my goodness, you were such a creative mind. It's amazing. It's just in awe. Like if I got to meet him, I think I'd be like, you're kind of not human, but like you are, so it's very impressive. So how? But also, well done. And then I'll leave because I don't think I should talk to him. Because he'd be like, your English is terrible, child. I'm like, you're right. He'll start critiquing me.
Oh no. Wow. Okay.
But also I love that he was a part of a book club, and I do believe it's called Ink Dots.
Good fact check this.
I'll look it up. I'll fact check it.
Good fact check.
But do you want to take over what I was saying? I think you know where I'm going with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I believe it's that he was friends with C.S. Lewis, the author for Narnia. They were friends, I believe, but then at some point in their friendship, there was a bit of
they're called Inklings.
Inklings. Oh, how about that?
That's so adorable. Sorry.
But yeah, I believe there was a bit of a kerfuffle at some point over the inclusion of Santa in Narnia. And I thought it was quite funny. I think they mended things. I'm sure they were good friends.
I'm sure.
Till the end.
I reckon
it was
they're
just
probably
a brief
similar to
little spat.
Us.
A brief little spat in which
we should do that one day. Have a brief spat about Santa.
It's just like, why is Santa in your story, bro?
Oh, it's like that. There was a
Lewis,
meme
my
where
man.
it's like,
what's up?
Because a lot of people got sick. This club was invented, like made so they could read out their works that they were working on. And they got so sick of Tolkien because he wouldn't shut up about Lord of the Rings.
Oh yes,
like,
I think it was C.S. Lewis as well. He was like
I think C.S. Lewis is like kind of getting like, move on, man.
It's like, bro, it's been 20 years or something. It's like, why are you still working on this?
But I mean, as hilarious as it is, there's also like little funny things that those two authors included. Like they made them into characters in their corresponding books. So, for example, in Narnia, C.S. Lewis has I think this is true. I'll fact check it. But C.S. Lewis has made Aslan Tolkien. You can be this character. This is after you a little bit.
Oh,
and then in Lord of the Rings, C.S. Lewis is Treebeard.
Nice.
I mean, someone's like trying to guess if he was insulted, like, you're a lion. And he's like, cool, you're a tree. And he's like, a tree?
A tree? I am not a tree.
Wait, I'm gonna fact check it. So you keep talking for a bit.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I do like that a lot. I mean, who wouldn't want to be Treebeard?
I hope it's true.
It's pretty awesome.
I just hope that's true. And yeah, right. But I would be amused if he was a little insulted because you got to be a little insulted.
A little bit.
When you're friends, you got to be you have to insult them. Just a little bit.
Just a little.
just a bit. Only you can do it though. If someone else does it, you're like, excuse me, get out of here.
I mean, what are friends if not to just insult them on a daily basis?
This is cool though. I love that some of our favorite authors were friends.
That's really
in their lifetime.
Really cool.
I think that's really like
very wholesome
because it just makes you feel yes, because you think they could have got on, and then you find out they did, and you're like, oh my gosh, they got on. I'm like, they were friends. I want to say they're best friends. I don't know, but I reckon
I'm sure they were good buddies at some point. Anyway, now you mentioned earlier that you were ranking the Hobbit films based off the tracks, the soundtracks, and which one you liked most. Is there a particular favorite track from across all the films?
A few.
A couple, yeah. And which
there's not 10. Don't worry. Don't freak out.
Which ones? And why?
Let me just pull them up so I have the exact name. So this isn't in order. These are just some of my top go-to songs because they're like impactful. Then one, Rides Forth, featuring Ben Del Maestro. So
Ooh.
our good old friend Ben, his voice is unreal. So I do believe he is a young boy who sings in choirs because I don't quite know, but his voice just cutting through like da 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 as like the whole battle's going on. I'm just like, yes, here we go. That's just, that's awesome. That's just like,
really beautiful.
It's overwhelming in the movie because it's all the music's getting more intense, it's getting heavier, and all of a sudden, this beautiful voice, it goes quieter, this voice cuts through.
Is this?
And you're like,
are you
it's
talking
like
about
filled with hope.
maybe in Return of the King when Gandalf rides out?
There's a few.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of this.
Yeah,
so this theme repeats a lot. So the one that I just
well, the voice
title,
the
so
voice
the
is
audience
featured in a bunch of tracks. Yeah,
yes,
different pieces, but yeah.
So I just picked this one just so if you want to go looking for them, you can start with that one because that one's pretty good. Lighting of the Beacons is pretty good.
Oh yes.
And I know you're probably going to take that one too. My next one's The Battle of Pelennor Fields is my ultimate favorite.
Oh yes.
Because I love that bum, bum. The bass drum.
Yeah.
And it goes da, 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 da. And then the Norwegian fiddle comes in.
Oh,
and I'm just like, here it is. This is right hard. I'm not geeking out. Two more. A Far Green Country.
Far Green, yes.
So that theme. There's another part where it comes in. So it's also the Days of the Ring featuring Annie Lennox.
Yeah.
It's that theme.
Very
and
nice.
It appears somewhere in the movie and it's longer, I'm pretty sure. And it goes somewhere else in the music and it builds. As we know, Frodo is the main character of Lord of the Rings. However, he is not the hero.
Yeah.
Well, he is a slight hero. But you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, obviously. A certain gardener.
A certain gardener who tags along. Don't get it wrong. He's not a bodyguard. He's a gardener. One of my go-to favorite ones is Samwise the Brave.
Samwise
because he's talking about Samwise. So the reason I bring up this one is because Sam is talking about, I wonder if they're going to be talking about us when we get back. I want to hear about Frodo and the Ring. And then Frodo goes, what about Sam? I want to hear more about Sam. I'm like, I do too. That whole moment before it goes into the Gollum theme, that theme is gorgeous. I love the parts where they remember hope and their good memories.
Yeah, I mean, most of the film is pretty dark, that second one. So
it does.
They're like, we're going to have
the second one and the third one, there's a lot of dark
themes.
Yeah. So when Howard Shore brings in those hope themes back, I'm just like, it actually warms my heart because
very nice.
These characters feel more real because they're thinking back to their lives that they had before they had to go save Middle Earth. And I was like, this is the most relatable thing ever. The way that Howard Shore incorporates and changes and dances with these themes, it's just done to perfection. Again, I am very biased. This is my favorite soundtrack ever, but I still haven't found one, in my opinion, that is better than Lord of the Rings. Maybe I will, but at the moment, this is the best soundtrack that I've ever heard.
You heard it here first. Hanae thinks Lord of the Rings is the best soundtrack to have ever existed and nothing will ever top it.
Jonathan, I would rant a little bit more, but I'm going to give you some time.
Yes.
So gracious of me.
Yes, thank you.
Do tell me. You don't have to tell me the titles if you can't.
Well, I'm looking through the album list to just remind myself of the names. But yes, I can
that's what I had.
I can try and name a couple. So I'm reading off the complete recordings edition of the album, so they won't be the same as the original soundtracks. They've got different titles. I'm looking at the complete recordings.
Oh yeah, they do change a little bit.
Yes, yeah. In some of the
Samwise the Brave, I'm pretty sure has another title as well.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what album you go to. So
this is true.
I apologize if you can't find some of these.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I do love the Shire theme a lot. So
cute.
With some of the tracks in the first album, so this is the Fellowship of the Ring. So the track The Shire, Bag and Very Old Friends, they're all pretty similar in that they quote the Shire theme. And so I always like listening to those just sort of at random. It would be like, it's either one of those three whenever I listen, because they are very, very similar, but they do the same thing. Just offer this really nice, peaceful, wholesome, warm vibe. And it's always just nice to revisit these tracks and be like, oh, peace.
Right.
a really lovely track to listen to when you're just stressed out and be like, I need something nice. They always like that one. In the opposite end of the spectrum, something very stressful, but also really awesome.
So ready for this.
is,
Here we
of
go.
course, the track called The Nazgul. And this
Ooh.
plays, and again, this is still for Fellowship, the first film. So this plays during it's the Lord of the Rings equivalent of a car chase. You have the Nazgul, so these black hooded riders atop of black horses, and they're chasing down Arwen. And this entire track of them just like chasing her across the landscape, accompanied by this really brilliant, a very epic, let's just say, it's just epic and just frightening score by Howard Shore. It's just so brilliantly done. It's just so iconic in my mind. Every time I rewatch his films, I am so excited for the scene. At the end, when, my favorite scene, I'll just segue very quickly to what my favorite scene is. Of all time, across all three films, across all six, if you include The Hobbit, is this one scene where so Arwen has crossed this river. The Black Riders, the Nazgul, they sort of hesitate to cross because they're sort of afraid of water.
They can't swim.
And they hesitate to cross water, and then they start threatening her. They'll be like, give us the halfling shield. You got the camera on Arwen if you want him. And then it slams to a close-up. Come get him. And it's just like, it's just so... I'm doing this scene not enough justice, but like, go check out the scene. If you type in Arwen, Nazgul, Chase or something, I'm sure on YouTube, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just, in my opinion, it's the coolest thing.
I'll put it in the show notes if you want.
Yes. About Arwen going like, if you want him, come take him. Or come claim him or something. And then they start to cross the river. And then she does her elven spell. It's actually... Although I believe it's not a spell per se. I believe she's calling on the river spirits. I think that's actually what she's doing. But
unfortunately, that's not the same in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, I love that scene.
Oh, it's a different person altogether, yeah. It's not Arwen.
Yeah, but also, they don't even... I'm pretty sure...
You don't even see it, I think. It's from the Frodo's perspective. So that entire scene was added in. Yeah, so he's passed out. But it's such a good scene.
Again, so just good. Like his uncle.
It's so good.
Oh my goodness, that's why he falls over. Because of his uncle. No, that doesn't make sense. Bilbo had such better balance. He climbed a tree, for goodness sake. If you don't know what I'm talking about...
You know what to do.
Yeah, you know what Frodo does. He can't stand.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say go watch the films, but yeah.
Oh yeah, go watch the films, but you'll find out why Frodo can be just a little bit annoying.
It's just, it doesn't have the greatest balance, let's say.
No.
My man can't stand on his feet. Yeah. So that was, I've mentioned two, and I'll just mention one more from each of the other two films.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm just pulling from Lord of the Rings, not The Hobbit here.
I didn't even pull from Fellowship. So.
Yeah, everything for Fellowship. I believe, obviously, Rohan's theme, anytime it shows up in any iteration, is just so good. From the second film, it's probably going to be, is it The Plains of Rohan? I could be wrong. One of these is it.
Which one? With the Norwegian fiddle going up to the...
Yeah.
With the flag?
Yes, that one. That might be...
I think that...
Maybe that's Edoras. Might be called... Yeah, anyway. There's that one. And then, of course, I think Hanae mentioned it earlier, the lighting of the beacons. And then... I like that track, but specifically at the very... After all the sort of pomp and circumstance, after all the really thrilling part, after all that's finished in the scene when it's arrived on Rohan, the beacons are lit. And then there's a moment of silence, and then the drums.
Gondor calls for aid!
Yeah, and then there's, of course, the horns. The horns, and the orchestra comes back in when Theoden is like, and Rohan outside. It's just, that's so cool. I just love that bit so much. But not as much as the Nazgul chase, but it's a close second. So, and I think I'll leave it there. Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
Yeah,
we'll be here all day if we don't move on to the next thing.
We honestly will.
I mentioned briefly, not briefly at all. I actually went into a whole spiel about my favorite scene. Hanae, what's your favorite scene across the 6 films?
Oh.
So including Hobbit now, if you want.
Okay. But, I just thought of one. So obviously I'd probably say a lot, but I'll just pick one.
Just pick one, yeah.
So going back to my soundtrack idea. So A Far Green Country is when they're on... Maybe it's before that. Maybe I'll go a little bit before that. So I'll do like a segue one. So when Sam says, I can't carry the ring, Frodo, but I can carry you. And you're kind of in tears because, Sam's carrying... I know. Sam's carrying Frodo up a huge volcano and surprisingly not passing out because they have not had probably water or food in the last few days. Stew. And then segueing from that scene, skipping a little bit in the middle, when they're hanging out on Mordor while it's, Mordor's being destroyed. They're on the volcano now. When they're talking about home again. And actually, they're talking about strawberries and if they can remember it. And then how Sam's like, I would have married Rosie.
Yeah.
Rosie. And I was like, Rosie! So like Sam being the ultimate hero and carrying his best friend up a volcano to him, them both comforting each other because Frodo's not under probably like the rings
Influence anymore,
spell, I
yeah.
guess. You can see this is a terrible word for it, but their humanities come back and their hope. Sorry, it doesn't work for hobbits. The hobbitsness has come back.
Hobbitity? No.
Hobbitinity. No.
No. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But like, it's heart-wrenching, it's emotional, it's inspiring, and you're like, you did it.
You did it.
You know? And they have a moment where they're like, we can breathe. I mean,
and
they'll deal with the next
and then it's followed very quickly by more danger.
Yeah, but like, even though they're surrounded by them, you know, they've accepted their fate. They know that there's like, they're not going to get home. Again, spoilers. I should have said this before this, but like,
I mean, at this point, if you're tuning in to listen to an episode of us talk about the Lord, evidently,
you should know.
Either you've watched the films or you just don't care.
And you're just like, I'm here for them to geek out. Like, no.
Yeah.
They've accepted their fate and they start talking about the things that they love. That's beautiful, you know? Oh, my heart. So we go from an epic scene chase of Jonathan's favorite to Hanae probably bawling out her eyes at the end. Roughly the end. Like 20 minutes before the end, let's be honest. It's not the end.
It's not the end, no. It's such a long ending. All five endings. All five endings of the film.
It's great. I'm so glad that like they give endings. But I'm like, this is kind of the end, but it's not quite.
Like, so and this is the end. Nope, there's another ending. Oh, there's another one. And another one.
Yeah. So I think that will be my go-to scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I have not stopped smiling, by the way, throughout like this whole episode because I'm like, Grond, Grond, Grond.
Okay, now I have a question. I have another question for you before we segue into the most important question of all. But which character would you want to meet? Now you can only pick one. Again, we'll be here all day if we go through all the characters we'd love to meet. But yeah, of the Lord Rings and Hobbit roster of characters and folks, who would you want to meet and why?
Okay, two came up for mine, so I'm going to have to pick one.
Pick one.
No, there's more characters coming into my brain. No! Okay, I'm going to pick, I reckon I'll go with Elrond.
Elrond, yeah, and why? Why Elrond?
Well, for one, his home will be safe if I go visit him.
Rivendell will be so nice to visit.
Yeah, so I will not be... Yeah, so I won't be being murdered anytime soon, I'm hoping. Not by an orc, at least.
Not in Rivendell.
But he is so, like, there's a lot of characters that are knowledgeable, but he is very knowledgeable. Wow, words.
Knowledgeable?
Yes. I don't want to talk about it.
He's full of knowledge, guys.
He's smart, guys. Unlike me. He's going to hate talking to me. But I want to sit down and listen to him tell all his life story. I think that'd be fun. I mean, I'll be there for, like, a few weeks, I reckon. I think that'd be a good time. I mean, there's other characters I'd love to meet, obviously. But we won't get into it. Okay. Jonathan. I think I know your answer.
Oh.
Can I guess your answer?
Yeah, yes. What
you want to meet Eowyn.
Eowyn? Oh, I would love to
meet
Eowyn.
So it wasn't your answer.
No, it wasn't quite her. I mean, as much, again, there's a whole plethora of characters I'd love to meet. I'm sure you as well.
Yeah.
Eowyn
popped up. Then failed in.
It's more of a case of like, Here's the thing with Eowyn, though, very quickly. I would view Eowyn as a sort of like a celebrity. It's like, I don't know if I want to meet them because I feel like I'm not worthy. It's like that kind of
totally
vibe. It's just like, oh, look, there they are.
But I would love to see them.
Yeah, it'd be like a case of like you just like traveling through Rohan and you just see them kind of, like, standing up on top of the hill.
That's Eowyn.
And you'd be like, oh my god, look, it's the Queen Eowyn.
And then you don't go say hi because obviously she's the queen. So
like, exactly, right? You just see them from a distance and be like, oh my god.
It's like, and the flag rips, and you're like, it happened.
Oh my god! Yeah,
but
she's up there with Faramir and having a good old time. So I'll be like, oh, so cool. No, but I would
nerding out again. Yes. Yeah. Who do you want to meet?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be Gandalf. I think it'd have to be Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be.
Oh my gosh, we'll probably be meeting them anyway because they hang out a lot, Elrond and Gandalf. So they'll probably be like at Rivendell anyway.
Yeah, probably. I bet, but who wouldn't want to meet a tall old wizard? Although specifically, I want to meet the grey version of Gandalf.
fireworks.
I don't know why. Yeah, just grey version. Yeah, just because I think
He seems a little bit more.
He's a bit more associated with the fun and
So
the
serious
peas.
Gandalf is the white Gandalf.
Yeah, white Gandalf.
And the fun Gandalf is grey.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
If I can, I have a second answer.
Second answer.
But I won't get into it.
All right. Okay.
I won't go into it though. I'll just say the name. Galadriel.
Galadriel. Oh,
that's it.
Need we say more? No, we don't.
No.
Galadriel.
Do not.
What a queen.
You meet her, you meet the whole world, honestly. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Galadriel, what an absolute queen. There you go. Okay, but now, to take a brief segue away from our Lord of the Rings talk to ask the most important question of all. What are you currently drinking? So, Hanae.
I finished it
regale
like
us.
10 minutes ago.
Okay.
You
You
could probably tell by the way I was, as you can tell, I was getting a little hyper. This only doesn't happen with this coffee. So it's probably the mix of Lord of the Rings and coffee.
Coffee Lord of the Rings, yes.
I've had a vanilla latte and it was warm.
Vanilla
it's getting cold,
latte?
guys. It's getting cold.
It's very
There's
cold,
no
and I'm
more
here
room
for it.
for
I actually do
iced
love cold.
coffees. Oh yeah, 100%. But like, it's hot coffee season now,
Hot
and
coffee.
Jonathan knows I was running a little late, so I didn't have time to like look around to see if I wanted anything different. So I went with my usual.
Went with you.
So
yeah.
maybe next week I'll have something different.
Maybe. Tune back in.
Maybe.
Find
you
out.
have to.
Find out. And
Wow, Jonathan,
Yes?
what is your answer?
and what am I having?
What or were you currently drinking?
What am I currently drinking?
I wish I was drinking a special spell that gave me the ability to speak.
I think
Good.
what we need to do is
Good.
just speak a little bit slower. We just need to sit in the moment a little. I know it's a very exciting topic and we want to say as much as we can, but I think we just got to speak a little bit slower. I think we'll be okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for...
No, that's more of a
Jonathan?
critique
Hey,
on myself more than anything.
You get a
I've just been
point.
noticing that I speak too fast. And maybe I've been speaking really fast in this episode already, and it's a bit too late now at the 1 hour mark to change it, but...
Yeah, you're going to have to like put us on to...
Oh, yeah,
What
just
is it,
0.5
minus two?
speed.
Yeah.
But yes.
Hey, before you continue, I've given you a point for the good critique.
Oh, the good critique. The self-critique. That's right, I haven't been keeping track of scores.
Yep.
Honestly, we're all winners here. We're all winners. If we're here talking about this...
It's Lord of the Rings.
Listener,
It's
you,
Lord of the Rings,
listener at
listener.
home listening, you're a winner. You're a winner. If you've joined
You
us
get a
here
point.
and you've stuck this far into a Lord of the Rings episode and you don't even know Lord of the Rings, you're a winner. Thank you for joining us.
You get a point as well.
You get a point, audience member.
Thank
We're all
you.
winners here.
You
What coffee
keep
am I
that
drinking?
point.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, what coffee?
What coffee am I drinking? So I had another, it's Nescafe again, but it was the vegan-friendly almond milk mocha this time. I think last time I had the latte, I believe. But there you go. I had a mocha today. So that's what I had.
No.
It's all right. It's all right. Try something else next time. All right. Well, there you go. So that wraps up that little coffee bit. Now back into our topic. I do want to then
Most
segue
important topic.
into our game segment. Now it's been
Yeah,
yes,
I've been looking forward to this.
yes. So I've if you've been listening to some of the other episodes I've hosted, I sort of am guilty of not doing game segments. Partly because I forget, but also
Shame
because
on
I
you,
don't
Jonathan.
really have any game segments prepared, and I just kind of end up talking the whole time.
In
today-
honesty, it is a little hard to come up with a game.
It's quite difficult, especially if it's not the same game every week.
Yeah, so
But
don't come at us, please. We do try. We try.
we try our best. I mean, I didn't try super hard with this game. It is just a Lord of the Rings quiz. I'm sorry, y'all, but
You
I
can
think-
join in with us.
yeah, I think
and
this
you
will
can
be.
tell us how many points you got.
Yeah, that's right. Do let us know.
Or if you want to send us your quiz point, or you can DM us
Or
on
just DM
either
us
Facebook
if you know us, yeah.
or Instagram.
Yes, we do have our own Instagram and Facebook, of course. You can
Yes,
always
and we'll be
you can always
posting
message
more
us
on
there
that.
as well. But
Yes.
here we go.
Or
So the
if you
quiz.
just see us in person, come up and say hi.
That's right. Yes, if you go.
If you know what our faces are, that is.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so here we are.
Okay, quiz,
we have
quiz.
the ultimate quiz questions is the name of this website. We'll find out if they are ultimate. The ultimate quiz
If it does
questions.
go into the animated versions, we will be
Ooh.
in very much trouble.
Very much trouble. So the ultimate Lord of the Rings quiz questions and answers. Well, just quiz questions. There will be answers.
If I get half of these incorrect, I'm going to be ashamed, and I might have to sell half my Lord of the Rings stuff. Or
You
just,
might
like,
have
throw
to,
it out.
honestly. Yeah, probably. So okay, so
Could
how
be a
this is
side
going to
note.
work? Obviously, I mean, pretty straightforward. I will just read off the questions. I will let you answer, but you can without reading off any of the multiple choice. But you can let me know if you need it. So if I read a question, you're like, I'm not so sure. I can let you know what the options are. You could pick from that. And then obviously...
And do I tell you my answer straight away?
Yes. Yes, please.
Awesome, so I don't have to write it down.
No. And I will be keeping track. I will just award a point for every correct answer. Hello, this is Jonathan from post-production. Just hopping in here to explain briefly how this next segment is going to go, as we were somewhat figuring it out as we were recording the show and didn't exactly understand how the game was going to be structured. So what's going to happen is Hanae will respond to each of the questions that I give her, and there will be a sound that I'm going to include in the edit here that will indicate if she got the answer correct or wrong. As while we were doing the quiz, there was no correct answer, there was no indication if she got the questions correct or wrong, and we only found out how many points she had at the end of the game, and it didn't even bother to tell us which ones were wrong. So this is my solution. And now back to the show. So here we go. Let's hop straight into this.
Grond. It's definitely the first answer.
All right. The Lord of the Rings trilogy was filmed in which country? Easy one.
New Zealand.
Easy. Okay.
Easy.
Easy. Okay, hold on.
I mean, they have to start a little easy.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. In what year was the original film released? I think they're talking about the first one.
Oh, actually, I'm terrible with dates, so I'm gonna have to guess this one. 2001.
2001. Let's see. Oh, do they give answers straight away? Because I'm not entirely sure myself. I know they began production in 2000.
They're somewhere around in the 2000s.
Oh, why did they not have answers just straight up? Come on.
You have to tell me afterwards because I'm terrible. Like, I know a lot about Lord of the Rings, but when it comes to like production dates, that's where I'm like, ooh.
Yes. So okay. So in what year was the original film released? 2001 is correct. Okay, I've just realized now as we're doing the quiz, so they don't give answers straight away. What they're going to do is we're going to just have to go through and there's a submit button at the end and we'll find out how many answers and it got correct. Okay, slightly different structure, restructuring there. Okay, all right, next question. What type of animal does Gollum give to Frodo?
Oh, we were talking about this. So it's either a rabbit or a hare, but I think it's a rabbit.
A rabbit. Okay, there is a...
Wait, what, is there any... Wait, tell me what the animal names are, just in case it's something else.
A mouse, a rat, a guinea pig, a rabbit.
Oh, it's a rabbit then.
A rabbit. Easy. Next one.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a specific type of rabbit.
Yes.
Because, it's Tolkien.
He's
going to be specific, man.
There you go. Okay, number 4. Who created the One Ring to rule them all?
Oh, why are these so easy? Sauron.
I got start easy. Yeah, okay. Next one. Who stole the ring from the original owner?
Oh, Isildur.
Okay. I mean,
he cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he cut off the ring of the hand, so he technically stole it.
I guess he technically stole it.
Didn't give it back.
There you go. Okay.
And then after that, it was the river, and then after that, it was Gollum.
Yeah.
And then Bilbo, and then Frodo.
Yeah.
And then Sam, then Frodo.
Yeah. Nice. Well, there you go. I'm going to give you an extra point just for that.
Yes. I'm good. If I'm going to win, I'm going to win hard.
Okay, all right, next one. Number 6. At Weathertop, the hobbits are attacked by ring wraiths. How many are there?
There should be all 9.
Correct answer was 5. All 9, okay.
But I was going to say, if you were going to ask what they were eating, I could definitely tell you that. They were eating nice crispy bacon.
Crispy bacon. Okay, number 7.
Back.
What is the fellowship comprised of? So this is just name the number of species.
Is asking for names?
No, it's just the number of species. Yeah, like which species and how many of them. So like, is it 2 hobbits?
4 hobbits.
Yeah.
4 hobbits.
Yep.
Not 2.
No, as an example. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say Jonathan.
I was reading off the...
2 humans, 1 dwarf, 1 elf, and 1 wizard.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's one of the options. Are we correct? Yes, we are.
We should be. I'd be very ashamed.
Frodo receives a shirt of Mithril from who? Gandalf, Sauron, Bilbo. Oh, there you go. They actually, part of the question was listing them. Yeah, there you go. Easy.
Oh, serious? I already knew that. That's Bilbo. Bilbo got it from foreign.
What is the title of J.R.R. Tolkien's book about Bilbo? The full title.
The Hobbit?
Oh,
the full title.
Yeah, they're a little bit more specific.
Oh, what are the options besides? So I obviously know the first bit's The Hobbit. What is the?
Oh, okay. Well,
options for the.
Well, have a listen to this. So, the options are There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale.
Yeah.
There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Story. There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Journey. And There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Travels.
It's There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale. No, that's the first one. Sorry.
We'll put down the first one. We'll put down the first one. We'll find out if we're correct.
The first one.
I'm pretty sure it's that too. Yeah.
It's Tale.
It's Tale.
Sorry, that's what you meant. I was like, it's The Hobbit. Yeah. What do you mean? But then I realized, I was like, oh, you want the little subcategory.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
When he's writing in the book.
Right.
I gotcha.
Number 10. Who is the first elf to appear in the movies?
Yeah, so it'd be Arwen. No, sorry. No.
Oh.
It's Elrond.
Ah. Okay,
If you're going-
yes, that's right. Yeah, if you go by the flashbacks, technically he would come first, wouldn't
Or if you go back to the other flashbacks in when Galadriel's speaking, it's all three of them. So it'd be
he?
Galadriel,
True,
Elrond,
true.
and Thranduil.
Mm.
But I'm going to go off with the scenes and go with Elrond.
Yeah. Well, Elrond is one of the options. He's the only one out of the people you've listed. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's Elrond.
That's a sneaky one actually. Yeah.
Aha, I gotcha.
How did Gandalf escape Isengard?
He called a moth, or a moth found him, and he called his eagle friend.
Yeah.
Which does have a name, but I can't actually remember, embarrassingly enough.
Yeah.
Because Gandalf is part of the eagles,
Yes,
the wizard eagle
Maya?
thing.
The Maya?
Yeah, Maya.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Here we go. Okay. This was an easy one. What color is Bilbo Baggins' door?
Oh, it's so easy. It's green.
Green.
I love his green door.
So
Sam's
iconic.
is yellow.
Yes, this is true. Who? Oh, yeah, here we go. Who finally slays the Witch King?
There it is. But is there two? It's both Eowyn and Pippin.
Technically, yeah, it's a bit of a.
But if it's just one answer, it will. If it's just one answer, it will be Eowyn.
It's Eowyn.
But for our listeners out there, you know the truth.
Technically,
Pippin helped.
Yeah, Pippin was an assist. he gets assist points.
Yeah.
At number 14, what book did Tolkien want to publish simultaneously with The Lord of the Rings? Oh, okay.
Oh.
Bit of a difficult one.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to fall flat, but can you tell me the options?
The options are The Hobbit, The Adventures of Bilbo Baggins, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and The Silmarillion.
Okay, I don't think it's... I want to say The Hobbit, but I don't think it is, so I'm going to go with The Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not entirely sure myself, but that sounds...
I'm going to go with The
right.
Silmarillion,
That
because The Hobbit was written at a different time.
Yeah.
And that was more of a storybook.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tolkien would have wanted that one group, because I think Tolkien being Tolkien, he wants his history book with his book.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my answer. That's my reasoning.
Okay.
Might not be good.
Okay. Next one. 15. What does Frodo wish for at the Black Gate of Mordor? Yeah, a little bit more difficult now. Yeah.
It's going specifics.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Can I have
looking for the specific
answers?
line. Yeah. Okay, so...
Not answers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. First option is that the ring had never been found. Second one is 1,000 Oliphants with Gandalf on a white one at their head.
Oh, that's definitely it.
Yeah, surely. The next one is to walk in the Shire once again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the fourth answer is for no one to die.
Oh, some of these aren't... None of them actually sound quite correct.
Yeah, and are they...
Where they're
is this
worded.
from the books or the movies? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go with... What was the first one again? That it had never been found.
Yeah, that the ring had
How about that
never
one?
been found.
Or he wishes to walk in the Shire, but I don't think he's wishing to walk in the Shire at that point. So I'm going to go with the first one. He wishes the ring wasn't found. But I know he says that in the first movie. I'm not sure if he says it there.
Yeah.
Because, again, the second movie is a little harder to... No, that's the third one, isn't it?
Sounds like... Yeah, I think it's from the third one. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I don't make it to the gate until the third one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so... Well,
there you go.
Go with the first one.
First one, yeah. Hello, this is post-production Jonathon again. Got to correct my previous statement. So it is actually, in fact, the second movie. They arrive at the gates at about a third of the way in. And unfortunately for this question, I actually cannot figure out for the life of me what the correct answer is, as the quiz does not actually tell us what the correct answer is. So if you happen to know, please email us, message us, and let us know what you think the correct answer is, because we don't know what it is. If you go back and check in the books, they'd say something to the effect of, I will not ask you to come with me, and then they proceed to try go in before Gollum stops them. Similarly in the movies, more or less the same line. So unless there is another instance in which Frodo arrives at the Black Gate, I really don't know what the answer is here. And now, back to the show. Okay, 16. When Frodo and the other hobbits first meet Aragorn, what name does he use?
Strider. Ryder. Sorry, it's Strider.
Number 17. What is Wormtongue's real name?
Oh. I'm going to have to ask the list, because I have heard it.
Yeah. So the first one is Lotho. Second is Llama. Third is Grima.
It's Grima.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot it. I was like, oh my goodness, I have heard his name a lot. I only remember.
What is the name of the giant spider who tried to eat Frodo? Easy.
Shelob.
Shelob.
And That's fair. So if I do get 100%, I should buy a lottering sword in the next few weeks.
If you weren't already going to do it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Apparently, it says well done. You answered 13 correct. Oh, so we got
Excuse me? 5? Oh, that's
okay. So according to the quiz, Hanae, you've been awarded 13 points out of the total 18. So I guess for this episode, you'll have 13 points plus the one extra that I gave you at the very beginning for a total of 14 points there. We'll have to just sort of double check. I mean, which ones you actually got wrong. Apparently, you've got 5 of them wrong.
I'm slightly disappointed, but like, if you know which ones that I got wrong, please let us know. Send us an email or DM. We'll get back to it very quickly.
This wasn't the greatest quiz.
And Hanae will not be crying.
No, this was not the greatest quiz ever. There were some interesting questions.
But it also depends on what their answer was.
Yeah.
Because maybe the person who made it also didn't know. This sounds horrible. This sounds like I'm blaming the person who made it. But I actually didn't
there may be specifics they're looking for. I'm sure, yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
I mean, the quiz itself is not particularly well put together. It seems that they don't actually offer you what the answers are, only what points you've got. So, well, there you go. I mean,
if I made a quiz, I would still like to know the answers. So I'd do my best to put the answers.
Hopefully that was a little bit of fun. All right. So
continue.
Let's carry on with this. For just a little bit longer, just before we begin to start wrapping things up. Now, very briefly, I have here on our Google Docs that you wanted to talk a little bit about the Amazon TV show, the trailer for the Rings of Power. Shall I just unstop that? And I'll just unstop that little thing and just let the floodgates go. Do you want to just rant about that for a hot sec?
I'll rant for a hot sec.
Will we watch it? Yeah.
So I think we will watch it because why not? As we both said, to be honest, we're still trying to watch Pinocchio, a true story. And
we did try. We came close, but unfortunately, no.
So you can definitely see our taste in movies and shows might be a little questionable, but not with Lord of the Rings, but maybe with the Amazon. So if you don't know, Amazon is coming out with a Lord of the Rings inspired show. Well, it's not inspired. It is Lord of the Rings, but it's called The Rings of Power.
Yeah, I think we could say that. We could probably say that it's inspired, I suppose.
Yeah, because actually like half of it is under copyright again. So they can't actually use all the things. That's not the point. That's not what I'm getting into. So we've watched the trailer. If you haven't, I mean, go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. You know?
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. Like, pause it right now, watch it, and then come back to the show. We're coming back to the show. I'm talking about it and I'm complaining. So, the first thing I'm going to hate on, my most hated thing that I saw was Elrond's hair. I hate that with a fiery passion. Why would you give him a modern day... hold on, I'll step back from my mic. Why would you give him a modern day haircut? He's medieval. Yeah.
I'm sure someone on the production could just try to justify that, but it just seems a little bit misplaced. It's just
So if you look at all the elven characters that we have seen in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, their fashion hairstyle go-to is quite long. That's their thing. Okay, that's a lot of their things. That's like even the humans have like short bobs. The guys. This is just, the girls have longer hair, obviously. Dwarfs have long hair and long beards. Elves have long hair. So does Gandalf. He's got a long hair, long beard. The only ones that don't have long hair are hobbits. And orcs don't really have hair. Elrond has long hair. Yeah? Okay, got that sorted. He has long hair. He's an elf, by the way. In this, he has a modern day haircut, so he's got short sides and a little bit long on top.
Right.
And by little long, I mean like maybe few centimeters.
Okay.
So, it's a modern day haircut. It doesn't look like Elrond. It looks like an angsty teen. I hate it.
My potential issue with this is there anywhere in the books where they specifically say that, elven, a very characteristic, a part of the elven character.
Short hair.
Yeah, one of their sort of features is that they have long hair. Is that a thing? Like, I actually don't know. Maybe that is.
Yes.
Maybe that is.
Think it might be, but we would have to look up in some of the books as well, and have to, because I have read Lord of the Rings.
I think it's possible
so I actually don't remember the descriptions.
Maybe they never say that they always have long hair, but it may be possible that every elf that shows up in Tolkien's literature and described as having long hair. So the reasonable inference would be that, okay, all elves just have long hair.
So besides Elrond's haircut, My next point I'm going to talk about is Galadriel.
Mm.
I'm so excited that Galadriel is in this. I'm not excited that she doesn't look like Galadriel.
In what way?
Well, for example, she looks very young, for one, like almost like a child. So I don't actually know what year this is set in, but I know it's before Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but is it still pre The Hobbit?
I think it's before the rings were made.
Yeah, so
Well before. So like second age, I think.
Pre.
Yeah.
So Galadriel looks kind of like a human child, like teenager. That she has messy hair. We're talking about the hair again. And I will say I do love her armor design. I think that's pretty sick and beautiful.
Pretty cool armor. Yeah.
But I don't really like how, like, again, the elves are meant to look like superhuman models. They're meant to be very hard to cast. This is not a diss on people.
Superhuman models.
Yes, superhuman models. So this is no diss on people, but like she doesn't quite look like Galadriel. Okay, that's just my hot opinion. Hot opinion, ill. That's my hot take, as Ellie would say.
Your hot take.
But besides dissing on some of the characters, there's a scene in this that does look pretty good. There are some scenes I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Right,
I think I'd watch that. But there's this one where she's climbing a side of the mountain, and for a minute the CGI switches, and it looks like a game CGI.
Yeah,
so it's
I think
not
some people have
fluid, and it did my head in a little bit because I was like, wait, is this a game or am I watching a movie? So I couldn't actually, for a second I was like, what is this trailer for? So I didn't like that scene. That threw my head around a bit.
Yeah, I have seen some people mention
am
that.
I excited for the Princess Dwarf? Yes.
Princess Dwarf?
But she has no beard, so
Princess Dwarf?
that's...
There's
a Princess Dwarf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotta rewatch this trailer.
Okay, she's not in the trailer. She's in... I saw her on a Facebook post.
Okay, that's why.
Character
I was like,
picture.
I don't remember seeing a Princess Dwarf.
So there is a dwarven princess, but she has no beard.
Okay.
And you know, there's a dwarf thing that we've heard a few times. What is it, Jonathan?
All dwarves have beards, even the women.
Yes.
Even dwarf women, which have led to the belief that there are no dwarf women. Anyway, so yeah, I think we may have to cut off our little rant there, but
oh yeah,
I think we get a pretty good picture of how we feel about the Amazon TV show. We're still going to watch it. I'm still going to watch it.
Oh yeah, I think there will be some good things.
I think it'll be a choice. I think it'll be interesting. Right. Well, as we continue to about to wrap this up, our final question for the day before we say goodbye is favorite weapons. Just very quickly. Now, very brief fun fact is we want weapons. Hanae and I, we constantly talk about how we want to buy these weapons. Now, favorite weapon though, Hanae, shoot. Which one is your favorite weapon?
So obviously, you can tell our top favorite, as we've been chanting, is Grond.
Grond. And if we haven't already made this the title, yeah.
Yeah, so Grond might be the title.
You could probably tell.
But also, I will put a picture of what Grond is, just in case you kind of don't know what a Grond is. Grond. So my...
It's just a flaming battering ram with black speech and scroll on it.
At the moment, obviously, I want all of them. But we'll start with this one.
You can only pick one, Hanae.
I'll go with Orcust.
Orcust. Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Sorry.
Orcust, yeah.
I think I'm pronouncing that wrong.
As it's depicted in the films, yes, the Hobbit film.
Yes. I have other favorites, obviously, like all of them.
They're very pretty.
And the Witch King's mace.
Oh, yes, we do love the Witch King's mace.
And that's it. I will restrain myself.
The massive
Otherwise, I'll start
mace,
naming
just unholy, ungodly.
It's
just way
huge.
Too big. It's just way too big for it to be for that to be.
Like I am looking up
feasible,
the list of all the weapons because there was a specific one that I was going to pick, but I couldn't find it because I can't remember his name. But Jonathan.
Okay. Yes, and my favorite weapon would have to be Sting. I'm a big lover of Sting. We love that leaf. We love that leaf blade design. It's very cool.
Oh, I do like Randall's sword.
Randall, yeah, the sort of samurai.
I think that's. I think that's pretty sleek.
Not samurai. What is it? Oh, how do you describe this kind of sword?
Oh my gosh! Sleek, I found a website where we can buy.
Wait, okay, well you'll have to link it in the show notes. Okay, well I think that's about all the time we have for this week's episode. Thank you for sticking with us. If you've listened all the way to the end of what is probably another really long episode.
So what are the point totals, Jonathan?
Yes, and the point totals are, well, unsurprisingly, Hanae with 14 points and myself with 1 point. Awarded by Hanae.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a given. I was the host, you were the guest for this week, so without a doubt, Hanae has been granted the opportunity to be host for this upcoming episode. So there you go, Hanae. Yes, and so once again, thank you for listening to the show. If you have any feedback or any responses to the questions, or want to let us know how you did on the quiz, feel free to message us on Instagram, YouTube, not on YouTube, you can leave a comment on YouTube if you find this episode there, Facebook, Instagram, email us at gmail.com, or even respond to the direct message on the Spotify. I believe there's an option for that. Could be wrong. Let us know through the other channels. But there you go. So I have been your host, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yes, you're welcome. And of course, thank you, Hanae, for joining me on this episode of Lord of the Rings.
Of course. If I wasn't here, I would be concerned.
It would just be a monologue. It'd just be an hour and a half monologue of me and being like, so Hanae, what do you think? I think this is great. Yes.
Jonathan's slightly losing it and becoming Gollum.
I'm finally losing it. There you go. So thank you once again, and I think they'll have to do it for today. We'll check back in next week. Goodbye.
Bye.